Welcome to another episode of What Are You Reading? What are you writing? I'm your host, Karen E. Osborne, and I hope this is not the first time that you've joined us. I hope that you're a regular follower, but if you aren't, you're here. You're going to have such a great treat today with my guest. My guest is Carolyn Clarke, and Carolyn is an award-winning debut author. Look at those two things together. Award-winning, and it's her first novel. How exciting is that?
Thank you.
Carolyn.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Karen. As you know, this is the most important thing as a debut author, is to have the attention, the likes of you and other fans spreading the word. It's so important, especially, and I'm Canadian, and published by an American authors or American publisher, so it's even harder to get the news spread here. So it's been a wild ride. So thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you. And I want you guys to hear a little bit about, and then there's Margaret, and then Carolyn will tell us all about it. So it is a laugh out loud family dramedy. Indie Reader, which is a reviewer, a professional reviewer, said, perfect for women's fiction book clubs wanting to explore complex and turbulent family relationships. So that sounds kind of serious, but then it says, it's a playful coming of middle-age novel. So that sounds like, that's why it's a dramedy, right? That sounds like a wonderful, wonderful mix. So Carolyn, before we dive into everything about your new novel, tell us a bit about you. What type of reader were you as a kid?
Well, as a child, I remember, besides reading all of the books that we had to read in school, which I did like, but didn't always get. I remember my first love was Judy Blume's Tale of a Fourth Grade Mathing. That book has stuck with me. I've read it. I have it here, and I read it sometimes. It has stuck with me as a child, and I just remember reading her series, the Fudge series, and Blubber, and then came Freckle Juice, and then she went along and did the young adult books. So I kind of grew up with Judy Blume's writing, her change in genre, because she went into young adult coming of age books, and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. So if you kind of hear that title, there's a little similarity in my book, because it was sort of a tribute to Judy Blume. Are you there, George? It's me, Margaret, or it's me, Allie, and that is part of the book. You'll see in some of the chapters. And then I got kind of intense as I grew up with Sidney Sheldon and Dean Koontz. If you remember them, Catherine Cookson and the family sagas I loved. And then once I had kids, it was like, okay, back to light and funny. So I was able to get back to Judy Blume, because then she was doing adult books. So it was just, so I think she had a few. It was Summer Sisters, which was serious, but then she had Smart Woman, which was humor, comedy drama, or comedy with drama, and we call it dramedy. But I guess I could say as a child, I was always a huge fan of
Judy
realistic
Blume.
with Bloom, yes. And
well, you must be the age of my children, because we read every Judy Blume book together, both of my kids. And my son is a writer, and we loved Judy Blume, and they kind of grew up with her as well. So that is really
memory
cool.
for me.
So at what point in your reading journey did you get the writing bug?
Well, I can't tell you age, but I'm going to tell you, it kind of hit me just before my daughters were born. I was always sort of a creative, entrepreneurial. I had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I started taking classes writing for children, but just learning the craft. But I never did anything with it because then the girls got older. And I thought, I've lost interest in this.
Mm.
So I was more using that as practice and taking an online course. It was great. I think it was one of the first online courses. So, you'd mail in your work and they'd mail it back to you like that, not using email attachments. And then I think it was about when the girls are just now in university, I just got the bug again. And that's when I'm thinking, I love my light-hearted reading novels, but I can't find any for women at this age, over 40. I mean, there were a few, but I thought, you know what, I would love to write one. And that's when it hit me that about 6 years ago, that I just wanted to get back and I did take a course, a creative writing course, and I started reading a lot again, but light books, light-hearted, fun books with an older protagonist. That's what I wanted to do, and kind of my love would be the contemporary realistic books, with humor and drama. Mhm.
Yeah, nice,
Yeah.
nice. And so now, today, are you still reading a lot? Do you have books
Not
that,
right now with the promotion and marketing.
I know it's so hard to
A
fit in
little bit of time.
reading. Oh my goodness.
Um, so I've given myself maybe until January 2023 just to kind of clear the cache, and
Yeah.
so I can get back to that because I do want to focus on this part. It's an enjoyable ride, but it's also a challenging one. So I think I just
Takes up
want
a
to.
lot of time and energy, doesn't it? Now,
Oh, the
I've
energy. Yep.
I've spoken to authors who say that they can't read while they're writing.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
they find that's difficult because they're worried that they'll take something
Mm.
from someone else's work, not on purpose,
Oh,
but
oh, that's
inadvertently.
yeah.
Do you have any feelings about reading while you're writing? Did you read while you were writing your book?
No, I actually slowed down in that because I just was focusing on my writing world. And so then I didn't want to pop into anyone else's, I call them book people, my book people, in their world. So I think that's why I just want to clear the cache and then just maybe start again. But hopefully I can read a little bit because I love reading. And I feel like it's a good question, Karen, because I feel like for the past 6 years, I haven't read as much, but I have been trying, and I have done a lot in the summer, taking holidays and vacations and getting away, either, day trips or just getting away altogether to a cottage for a couple of days. I've been able to pick up books
That's good.
on the
Yeah.
way.
It is a balance,
Hmm.
between writing, marketing, and reading.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a
Who
huge,
knew?
and then of course there's life, there's all
Yes.
the
Life gets in the way. Gosh,
other
and
things.
work.
But when you get started again reading, what are the books that you're looking forward to?
Well, I have been hearing a lot of buzz around it's Bonnie Garmis, and she's 65. She just did a debut book in the same genre that I love. It's called Lessons in Chemistry.
Mm.
And I found her when my book was on NetGalley. I actually found a lot of great books on NetGalley when I was there, obsessing over my book and seeing what was happening every day. So Lessons in Chemistry is one that sort of exploded in the women's humorous fiction. And as a debut author, this is so interesting. So I want to see what all the fuss is about, and I'm interested in getting back to that. And I got to go see. I don't know if you're familiar with Marion Keys. I don't know.
Mm.
We Toronto had a international film festival in Toronto last week. So Marion Keys, as soon as I found out she was coming, she's one of my favorite authors from Ireland, and
Mm.
her books are about this thick, and they're lighthearted and lots of comedy, but lots of drama too. So when I heard she was coming, so I did pick up her book at the bookstore there. And so her book is again, Rachel, and I'm looking forward to that. So those are two, and being realistic, that will probably carry me into January 2023,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
rate I'm
because
going.
you're launching a debut novel,
Yeah,
and that takes a
yeah.
lot of
Hmm.
work and thought
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
activity. And I don't know that if people, the whole writing process
Yes.
is just the writing itself is a very, very
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
engrossing and
Hmm.
all consuming. And
Yep.
then all the stuff that happens between finish the novel, get it published, find your publisher, do the edits, do the cover, the everything. And then, oh no, you can't get back to
Yeah.
writing because now you have to
You're back in the
market.
trenches again. I think the writing was actually the easiest, honestly, the easiest part, because you didn't have all those other, obstacles and barriers and challenges coming into your way, and fun stuff, of course. But, the focus was just on writing. But now it's,
Wait
you've
till your
got your
second
hands
novel
on the.
comes out.
Sorry, say that again.
Wait till your second novel comes
Oh,
out.
okay, yeah.
Because then the
Because you're
writing is
juggling.
not pure anymore. I have
Well,
2 books
right.
out. I have 3
And
books out, but
yeah.
one is only a
Oh,
year
yes.
old and one just came out.
Yeah, you're
And
busy.
marketing both while I'm writing
Hmm.
my 4th novel
I don't know
now,
how you're doing it.
it's, it's, I
But I
don't
am
know.
actually so inspired, with your talent and your ability to keep and then you've got this podcast, and you've
This is
got writings.
easy. This is the
Oh
fun.
boy.
I love this. I love this so much. I meet the coolest people
Yeah.
and I hear
Yeah.
about the best books,
Hmm.
and my
Yeah.
to read pile just
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so when was what was the last book that you read that you loved?
Um, the last book. So when I saw this question, I had to think about it, because I've got the books, my TBR pile. And so the last book that I got to sneak in this summer was, I don't know if you've heard of, Elizabeth Strout, Olive Kitteridge.
Oh yes.
Yes. And the only reason I picked up her book, besides watching the miniseries with my husband, and I didn't think he'd like it. And he just was like, "Do you want to watch episode 2?" So he's saying, okay. So we watched the whole thing in the weekend. And we just loved the 2 of them that were in that. What's her name? Now it's escaped my mind. Oh, it'll come back to me. Oh boy. But anyway, her book, Elizabeth Strout, was just phenomenal. Like her writing and, her style, her details. It was drama, a little bit of wit, and that's what I like, the wit. And so when I saw it on my friend's kitchen table, I'm like, I gotta read this, because I just saw the series. So I look forward to it. I know I'm late to the party with a lot of books that I kind of want to get caught up on, but I like to read the ones that have been on screen through either series or TV shows or movies.
Yeah.
I do like to compare that. I know Still Alice is one of my ones that I want um, to read. That was the
I always
movie.
think it's better to watch the show and the movie and then read the book, because
Yeah,
when you do
yeah.
it in the opposite, you sometimes can
Hmm.
feel very
Right.
disappointed. But when you
Yes.
do it, see the visual and then
Yes.
read the actual book, that can be very, very enriching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
remember her name now, from, the one who played in, Olive Kitteridge. It was Frances McDermott.
oh, she's an
Oh,
amazing actor. Yes.
she is so good.
Yeah. She is a wonderful actor. So did you invent the genre dramedy? Because I know that people talk about that in TV shows and
Yeah.
movies, but
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that as a genre in books. And I just wondered if you are the inventor.
No. Oh, I wish I could take that as credit, but no. You know what? Dramedy has been around, and yes, it's growing and it's rising in the movie industry and TV series. In fact, I think they were talking about at the Emmys, that they need to put in a dramedy comedy category, because there were so many shows, like the White Lotus was one of the ones that's just swept they across the nominations and picked up a lot of awards. But for books, well, I don't know if you've heard of Frederick Backman and his Man Called Of.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. So he's got a few books out, great books. He's from Norwegian. No, he's
Norway.
Norwegian. Yeah, Norway. And then we've got Maria Semple. She was Where Did You Go, Bernadette? And Today Will Be Different. So these books, I think, and remember Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine
Yes,
by Gail
yes.
Honeymoon. So I don't think it's new. I think I think we're seeing it. I would love to see more of it, because it just goes hand in hand, sort of the misery and the grief mixed with a little bit of joy and humor. And I think, yeah, we can watch it, but why not? I wish we can have more books so we can read, because I think that's just the reality of our lives, right?
Of
They're not
lives,
all
yes.
simply drama. There's a lot of comedy mixed in there too. So yeah, as a drama, I'm hoping that yeah, that it grows in with books, because it's kind of like
And that
the
they start listing, that it has its own special place, dramedy.
yes,
That would be really
yes,
cool.
yes, yes,
So,
yes.
so tell us a bit about your dramedy and what
Mhm,
inspired it, and kind of tell us a
mhm.
little bit about the main character without telling us everything,
Giving too
because
much.
you guys need to buy this and read it.
Yes. Well, so and then there's Margaret, which I wrote and started writing about 6 years ago. Because I'm a true fan of dramedies, this is what I'm like, yes, I'm going to write about it, because I want to read something that I want to, or write something that I want to read about. So that was basically why I wrote it. The funny thing is, I never had a mother-in-law. So this book is about a mother-in-law getting in the mix of midlife and marriage. And this mother-in-law, Margaret, suddenly her husband passes away and needs to move in with Allie and her husband, Hank. So Allie's already going through midlife and so just a worn out marriage of 20 years. And then her mother-in-law all of a sudden is moving temporarily in. So I wanted to make it funny, but I also wanted to, bring in some themes of aging, and themes of, these complex relationships between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, because I know this is a very universal theme topic. And when the why, well, how I was inspired is I was sitting around at a book club actually, and listening to my friends talking about their mother-in-laws. And I was kind of listening, thinking, that's a funny story. I was just visualizing, but sad story. But yeah, just listening to their confessions and their sins and their stories. And yeah, I took one of my friends aside and said, I need to write about this. This is going to be my women's fiction humorous book that will, appeal to an older crowd, maybe fans of chick lit that have loved the lighthearted books, that are looking for something a little bit more mature now and older and wiser. So that's how I got the story going. And yeah, we just see Allie struggling with her mother-in-law, Margaret, and we learn to love Margaret at the end, when we learn more about why she is the way she is, why she's been treating Allie the way she has been. And yeah, the two come together, and it's not a happily ever after, because there's still some, this life, right, there's still some unevenness about the relationship, but I think it's just a matter of moving forward, accepting each other for who they are, and making the best of it. It's family, right? We
Yeah,
can love our
the way
family,
life
doesn't
is.
mean we always have to like them.
It's the way
So,
life is. It's funny
mhm.
listening to you say that you were listening to friends at this book club and talking about their mother-in-law. My husband bought me a T-shirt that said, "Be careful what you say to her. You could end up in her novel." And
I've got one too. I think this is so going into my second novel.
exactly, because we're
Yeah.
constantly hearing little bits of stories, and it gets our imagination going.
Yeah.
So
Oh
is there
yeah.
anything cooking in your brain for novel number two?
Yes. And when you said what we listen to things, I've got a little writing app on my phone, so I'm always constantly saying, can you repeat that? I want to use that. So I've got a list of things. But anyway, yes, I'm hoping to work on something, as I said, January. I've started it. It's just going to be, If you think of the movies, if your listeners have heard of War of the Roses, that
Oh,
was,
yeah.
and the breakup with Jennifer Aniston, sort of presented in a light-hearted goodness and good-natured humor, maybe as good as it gets. Something's got to give. So I'm trying to create something here, and kind of more with a little bit of a rom-com, because I know that that genre is always will be popular, but dramedy, right? You've got your drama and you've got your comedy mixed in. So yeah, we're looking at something like that. And I got to plot it, but I'm not really a plotter. I'm a pantser. Just yeah, as long as I've got sort of the arc. This is what I've learned, Karen. Gotta have that arc.
Yes. You mentioned movies and TV shows, and I do find I love learning from movies.
Oh
I
yeah.
love learning from, I saw The Warrior King with
Yes.
Viola Davis. And
Oh,
I've seen Viola Davis on stage live on Broadway as well. And she
isn't she
acts with
amazing?
her face and she acts with her body language. And as writers, we have
Mhm,
to convey that. We have to be able
mhm.
to convey. So I find movies and plays
Mm,
teach me so
oh,
much
yeah,
as a writer. They help
yeah.
inform my writing all the time.
Especially listening just to natural dialogue, conversation. I think that's really the most important thing as a writer is you've got to get that dialogue right. It's got to be natural. It's got to be uh, realistic, right? So I do spend a lot of time just listening to other people's conversations. I don't wait to hear what the ending is, but just how we talk, the intonation, the words, and I think, we can get that from movies too, right? Because the
Yes, and from
dialogue
all the people
has to be.
around us.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, so if
Yeah.
our audience wanted to find out more about you,
Mhm,
where are you on social media, your webpage? How can
mhm.
they get a hold of your book? Because we know you want to buy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you can read more about me, and you can actually read the first chapter at henletcentral.com, and that's my blog. And I've been interviewing lots of great
So
talented
say that
authors.
again out loud so people
Oh,
can.
so that's henletcentral.com. And yep, I interview authors that have sort of that lighthearted book that they've written. And you can also, I hang out more on Twitter. So it's Carolyn R. Clarke, Twitter. You'll see that because you'll see Henlet Central come up. I'm on Instagram as well, Carolyn Clarke, author, and Facebook as well. But I tend to go to Twitter. I think it was my first social media platform that I learned. So I'm
So that's
always
where your
resistant
people
to the
are.
other one. Yes, that's where
Yes.
my peeps are. Yeah, my
Yeah.
tribe. That's
That sounds very good. And you can find me and all three of my books, Getting It Right, Tangled Lies, and Reckonings,
so
at
good.
KarenEOsborne.com. You can find me on my Facebook, my YouTube channel, Instagram, and Twitter. And LinkedIn, I tend to write more about my old life philanthropy, but all the rest of them are very book and reading and recommendation oriented. So I hope that you will buy Carolyn's book, read it, write a review, share it. That's what
You.
that's like giving an author a hug. And we hope that you'll be
Yes.
back next
Thank
time.
you.
So what
Okay,
are
give
you
me the
reading?
deadline and I will have it ready. It'll be in a couple, not 6 years, I hope. God,
We'll
but thank
see
you.
you next time on What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Bye, everybody. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.